Good morning and welcome to the July 30th, 2026 meeting of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. It is 9:30 a.m. For the record, I am Chairwoman Brooke Popp, and I'm joined today by my colleagues, Katarina Gonzalez and Tanya Miller, our General Counsel, Mary Smith, and our Interim Public Interest Counsel, David Timberger. For each item that argument or discussion is allowed, we will inform parties or the public of time limits for their discussion. Registration closed at 9:30, but if you'd like to address the commission on a particular item, please either visit our registration table if you're here in person, or if you're on the web, email agenda@tceq.texas.gov with your name, affiliation, and the item you'd like to comment on, and we will do our absolute best to accommodate that request. For those making presentations, please wait to begin your presentation until I or Mary have asked you to begin speaking, and please check to make sure that your line is unmuted before proceeding. With that, Mary, item number one.
Item number one is the consideration of a resolution appointing 6 nominees to the Water Utility Operator Licensing Advisory Committee. The Executive Director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. I'm Kenny Smith of the Occupational Licensing and Registration Division on behalf of the Executive Director. With me is Alicia Ramirez with the Environmental Law Division. We are here today to request the Commission's consideration and approval to appoint a total of 6 individuals to the Water Utility Operator Licensing Advisory Committee, known as WULAC. These recommended appointments will replace advisory committee members whose terms expire on August 31st, 2026. The 6 nominees are new appointments and include Lewis Booth, Remington Birkeland, Michael Gonzalez, Wesley Hubbard, Sean Kuhn, and Matthew Manfreda. If approved, these terms will run from September 1st, 2026 and will expire on August 31st, 2030. WULAC consists of 13 members who represent various water and wastewater regulated entities. WULAC advises the Commission regarding water and wastewater operator licensing and training issues and facilitates communication between the Commission and the water and wastewater utility industries. A notice of request for nominations to fill these vacancies was published in the February 13, 2026 issue of the Texas Register. An email solicitation was sent to all individuals who hold a current TCEQ water or wastewater license, and current members were asked to recommend potential members. The Occupational Licensing and Registration Division received a total of 41 nominations. The 6 recommended nominees would balance the representation across the state, with current members including criteria such as geographic location, technical background, and affiliations with associations, governmental entities, and/or training providers. In conclusion, staff respectfully request adoption of this resolution. Thank you. We are available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Mary, has anyone signed in on this item?
No one has signed in on this item.
All right. Eli?
Good morning, Chairwoman Popp, Commissioner Gonzalez, Commissioner Miller, and General Counsel Smith, Executive Attorney, Directors Attorneys. My name is Eli Martinez. I'm Senior Attorney for the Office of Public Interest Counsel. OPIC supports the Executive Director's recommendation and the proposed resolution appointing Lewis Booth, Remington Birkeland, Michael Gonzalez, Wesley Hubbard, Sean Kuhn, and Matthew Manfreda to the Water Utility Operator Licensing Advisory Committee for 4-year terms beginning September 1st, 2026. The advisory committee provides important advice to the Commission on the training and licensing of water and wastewater operators. Maintaining a full, geographically diverse, and experienced membership is in the public interest. The 6 nominees were selected from a competitive pool of 41 applicants following public solicitation through the Texas Register and through direct outreach. They bring strong operational, training, and instructional experience across multiple TCEQ regions and hold a broad range of Class A and other relevant licenses. Their backgrounds in rural systems, large utilities, emergency response, operator training, and private sector operations will help the committee continue to offer practical, field-informed recommendations. For these reasons, OPIC recommends approval of the resolution, and we're available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for OPIC? No? All right, I'd like to thank staff for their efforts in soliciting applicants and finding and reviewing so many applications for the advisory committee. I am ready to move forward with the staff's recommended nominees. I'd also like to thank everyone who is serving on the advisory committee for their willingness to serve and the valuable input they provide to the agency. It is not lost on me that you are all volunteers that have lives and work and kids, and the whole shebang. So thank you always for volunteering. With that, colleagues?
I'm in agreement. I also want to thank the volunteers. It's very helpful to the agency to have the stakeholder input, and I appreciate everyone's time.
I'm in agreement as well.
Wonderful. Is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the Executive Director's proposed resolution appointing the following nominees with terms effective September 1st, 2026 for a 4-year term to expire August 31st, 2030. Lewis Booth, Remington Birkland, Michael Gonzalez, Wesley Hubbard, Sean Kuhn, and Matthew Manfreda.
Is there a second?
A second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank y'all. All right, we'll move on to item 2.
Item number 2 is the consideration of the Executive Director's findings and recommendation on whether a water master should be appointed for the Cypress Creek and Sulphur River basins. The Executive Director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, Public Interest Counsel. My name is Molly Moeller. I'm the Water Master Section Manager for the Water Availability Division. With me is Catherine Fisher from the Environmental Law Division. The Executive Director is statutorily required to evaluate each Water Master basin without an existing Water Master program once every 5 years to determine whether a Water Master should be appointed. During the 2026 fiscal year, we reviewed the Cypress Creek Basin and the Sulphur River Basin. The evaluation included opportunities for public input, and the public comments received are summarized in the evaluation document submitted to support this agenda item. All comments oppose implementing a Water Master program, with comments primarily focused on the lack of need and the additional expense of a Water Master program. Copies of the written public comments are also included in the filing. Our evaluation found no court orders, petitions to create a Water Master, or recurring threats to water rights from 2021 to 2025. Based on this review, the Executive Director does not recommend that the Commission move forward on its own motion with creation of a Water Master program in the Cypress Creek Basin and the Sulphur River Basin. Thank you, and we are here to address any comments.
Thank you. Any questions for the ED? Nope. Mary, has anyone signed in?
No one's registered.
David?
Good morning. Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and ED staff. OPIC has reviewed the ED's evaluation and supports its conclusion that the criteria for recommending creation of a new Water Master program have not been met in the Cypress Creek and Sulphur River basins. We're available for any questions if you have them.
Thank you, David. Item 2 involves the ED's evaluation of whether to implement a Water Master program in these 2 basins. The ED identified no court orders, no petitions from water right holders, no priority calls in the basins during the evaluation period. Complaints and investigations in Cypress Creek and Sulphur River basins were relatively few, and the majority did not result in violations or in enforcement action. The stakeholder input indicates no interest for appointing a Water Master, and imposing a Water Master program could cost significantly more, than the Commission's current management of water rights in the basins. I agree with the ED that the criteria for appointing a Water Master for the Cypress Creek and Sulphur River basins have not been met. Therefore, in my view, the Commission does not need to act on this review, but I'd like to ask the ED to include her findings from the evaluation in her report to the legislature. Colleagues?
I agree with that, and thanks to the staff for evaluating the basin and facilitating opportunities for robust stakeholder involvement. I also agree with the ED.
I also agree with the ED and stakeholders that the criteria for creating a new waste master program, have a Water Master program. Wow, have not been met. I like to point out the ED conducted significant stakeholder output, and all stakeholders commented that this was not needed. And I think we also need to take into account the significant cost increase if we did create it. So,
Thank you. Well said. No action is necessary on this item. We'll move on to item 3.
Okay, item number 3 is the consideration of the ED's findings and recommendation on whether the Rio Grande Water Master Program should be expanded to the portion of the basin within Texas, but outside of the jurisdiction of the current Water Master. The Executive Director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. My name is Jose Pepe Davila, Section Manager with the Water Availability Division. With me today is Catherine Fisher with the Environmental Law Division. This year, in response to persistent drought conditions and concerns about TCEQ's oversight of the basin, the Secretary Director evaluated whether there is a need to expand the jurisdiction of the Rio Grande Water Master Program to the remaining portion of the Rio Grande Basin within Texas. The Rio Grande Basin in Texas is within a water division established under Texas Water Code 11.325 for the purpose of administering water rights through a water master program. The Secretary Director can add additional areas within the division to the existing program through rulemaking without going through the evaluation process. However, the evaluation process incorporates a robust stakeholder component which allows waterway holders and stakeholders to provide input into the evaluation. The staff used the existing framework and procedural structure established by the Commission in 2011 to conduct evaluations for new water master programs. Our evaluation found no court orders, petitions to expand the Rio Grande Water Master Program, nor a history of water right calls and complaints from 2021 to 2025. The evaluation included in-person meetings in El Paso, Fort Stockton, and Harlingen, and a follow-up virtual meeting. We received both oral and written comments. Commenters generally opposed expanding the jurisdiction of the Rio Grande Water Master Program. The public comments are summarized in the evaluation documents filed to support this agenda item. Copies of the written public comments are also included in the filing. Based on this review, the Secretary Director does not recommend that the Commission move forward on its own motion to expand the Rio Grande Water Master Program to include a portion of the Rio Grande Basin within Texas and outside of the jurisdiction of the Rio Grande Water Master. Thank you, and we are available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Any questions for ED? Has anyone signed in on this item?
No one is registered.
OPIC?
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and ED staff. OPIC has reviewed the ED's evaluation and supports its conclusion that the criteria for expanding the Rio Grande Water Master Program have not been met. OPIC notes that while there were comments in support of expanding the area covered by the program, there were no petitions from water rights holders seeking expansion during the relevant period, and there were no priority calls in the evaluated area. We're available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, David. Item 3 involves the ED's evaluation of whether to expand the existing Rio Grande Water Master programs to the upper portion of the basin. While not required by statute, the ED conducted an evaluation of the portion of the Rio Grande Basin in Texas that lies outside the Rio Grande Water Master Program to determine whether the existing Rio Grande Water Master Program should be expanded in response to persistent drought conditions and stakeholder engagement. The ED identified no court orders, no petitions from water right holders, and no priority calls in the area during the evaluation period. The Commission received a small number of complaints in the area, and none resulted in violations or in enforcement action. The stakeholder input did not indicate support for appointing a water master and imposing a water master program could cost significantly more than the Commission's current management of water rights in the basins. I agree with the ED that the criteria used for determining whether a water master is needed have not been met for expanding the Rio Grande Water Master Program to the portion of the Rio Grande Basin within Texas outside the current program. Therefore, I take no action on this item as well. Katerina?
I agree, and thanks for y'all's work on that.
Tanya?
I agree with the executive director, and the Rio Grande Water Master Program should not be expanded. As Board Commissioner, I've had the opportunity to frequently interact with our Rio Grande Water Master, her staff, and the numerous stakeholders in the area. Pepe, it's nice to see you in Austin for once.
Thank you.
The water rights and allocation system in the lower Rio Grande is unique and requires constant and critical oversight. The Water Master coordinates releases and diversions, monitors stream flow, reservoir levels, and water use within the basin. The Water Master also provides monthly allocation updates to our stakeholders. I do not believe it would be appropriate to expand the Water Master program in this region to include areas that do not have the same or similar issues of those covered in our current program, and as the ED's evaluation recognized, it does not meet the criteria to expand this program.
Thank you, Tanya. Good insights, especially coming from our border queen, who's always down there. No motion is required on this, so we will move on to item 4. Thank y'all.
Okay. That takes us to the enforcement docket, which are items 4 through 55, and the executive director's staff is here to present these matters.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, Public Interest Counsel. For the record, my name is Megan Hamilton of the Enforcement Division, and with me today are Amy Senemeyer, also of the Enforcement Division, and Gitanjali Yadav of the Litigation Division, representing the Executive Director. Pending before you are items 4 through 55. The total assessed administrative penalties are $1,787,071, with $206,170 deferred, $573,893 applied towards supplemental environmental projects, and $1,007,008 to the general revenue. We respectfully request approval of these items and are available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for Megan? Nope. Has anyone signed in on this item?
And no one's signed in to speak, but on items 4, 6, 7, 12, 15, 16 through 18, and 31, there are individuals who are available for questions if you have any.
Okay. Any questions? No? All right. David, OPIC?
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and the ED staff. OPIC has reviewed these proposed agreed orders between TCEQ and respondents and does not object to their approval. OPIC would like to note that Blanchard Refining Co. appears 4 times in these orders, including 1 findings order. OPIC appreciates the efforts of the parties to resolve these matters and looks forward to the fulfillment of the terms of their agreements in accordance with the schedule set forth therein. Should the Commission have questions concerning any particular item, OPIC would be happy to consider the matter further. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've reviewed the backup for these items and would like to thank staff always for their efforts in bringing these orders before us today. I am ready to approve these orders, but noted several items that I'd like OCE to monitor. First item, 24. I've noticed that the respondent was operating with no authorizations, that this was the subject of complaints, and that severe odors were encountered during the investigation. I'd like to ask OCE to monitor and to follow up on this order. Second, items 14, 16, 17, and 18 all involve the Blanchard Refinery in Texas City, with over 20 emissions events, including several excessive emissions events, many other violations, and given the facility's history, I'm concerned about the overall operations of this refinery. I'd like to ask OCE to monitor the facility closely and consider a referral to OAG if there are additional emissions events. Colleagues?
Thanks to the staff. I appreciate the hard work that all the enforcement coordinators and leaders within the division are doing. And I also want to thank our SEP program staff for the work they do for our agency as well. So thank you. Ready to move forward too.
Just thank you, staff, for your work on these, for bringing them forward.
I move that we adopt items 4 through 55 as recommended today by the Executive Director. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The motion passes.
Item number 56 is the consideration of the monthly enforcement report, and the Executive Director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. My name is Amy Stedemeyer of the Enforcement Division, and with me are Megan Hamilton of the Enforcement Division and Gitanjali Yadav of the Litigation Division. We're here to present the monthly enforcement report for fiscal year 2026 through May. There were 1,204 effective administrative orders issued, and of those, 223 contain supplemental environmental projects. These orders assessed a total of $21,813,632, with a payable amount of $11,771,578.73. $7,092,778 are to be paid towards supplemental environmental projects. 13,050 notices of violation have been issued either through our field offices or review of self-reported data in central office, and 985 enforcement action referrals have been received. There are 2,530 pending administrative orders, with 1,053 cases that are on the backlog. 154 cases are pending at the Attorney General's office for representation in district court, and 12 judgments have been issued. 1,890 cases are being tracked for compliance. We're available to answer any questions you may have.
You any questions for Amy? No? Mary, has anyone signed in on this?
No one has signed in.
OPIC?
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and ED staff. For the record, I'm David Timberger, Interim Public Interest Counsel. OPIC has reviewed the report and appreciates the efforts of staff to move these cases forward. Thank you very much.
Well, I've noted that the backlog is still coming down, which is amazing, and that we are seeing an increase of NOVs and NOEs and enforcement referrals. I'd like to thank OCE and OLS for all their efforts and for this report. Colleagues?
Yeah, thank you for staff for that. I also want to highlight the enforcement report states that 223 supplemental environmental projects have been approved during fiscal year 2026 through May 2026, which is very great. Very great. Thank you.
Well said.
We may have to hire more staff in that program area.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you. No action is necessary on this item. So, Mary, let's move to item 57. Amy, I like the brown polka dots. Yeah. Twinsies.
Did y'all call each other this morning?
We did. We did.
Item number 57 is the consideration of the publication of and hearing on proposed amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 30, regarding occupational licenses and registration. The Executive Director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and the Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I am Rebecca Morgan with the Occupational Licensing and Registration Division. With me is Gulay Aki, the Deputy Director of the Occupational Licensing and Registration Division, and Maricela Zutucci with the Environmental Law Division. The proposed rulemaking would implement 4 bills from the 89th Legislature, the 2025 regular session, and incorporate staff-recommended revisions. House Bill 1237 allows licensed individuals additional time to renew a license or registration up to 180 days past expiration, and authorizes TCEQ to assess late renewal fees. House Bill 5629 amends the reciprocal licensing process for military service members, veterans, and military spouses who hold an occupational license from another state and are seeking a license in Texas. Senate Bill 1818 requires state licensing authorities to promptly issue either a provisional license or regular license to eligible military service members, veterans, and military spouses applying through the reciprocal licensing process. Senate Bill 1080 amends the provisions related to the automatic revocation of licenses following certain felony convictions. In addition to implementing these legislative changes, the proposed rulemaking would allow an individual who submits a renewal application within 90 days after a license expires to complete the required renewal training during that same 90-day period. Although the statute does not expressly address the timing of renewal training, this approach would be consistent with House Bill 1237, which provides additional flexibility during the period and allows for individuals who timely submit a renewal application within the 90 days after expiration to continue performing duties that require a license. The proposed rulemaking would also correct the required training hours for the Class B wastewater operator license in Section 30.34A from 100 hours to 120 hours, and would update the rules to allow renewal notifications to be provided electronically. A hybrid public hearing with both in-person and virtual participation options will be held in Austin on September 9th, 2026. Staff respectfully recommends approval to publish the proposed amendments to Chapter 30 occupational licenses and registrations in the Texas Register and to hold the public hearing on September 9th, 2026. Staff also respectfully requests permission to make non-substantive revisions as necessary to comply with Texas Register publication requirements. Thank you, and we are available to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Any questions? No? Mary, is anyone signed in?
No one is signed in on this one.
All right, Mike?
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Executive Directors, Attorney, and staff. For the record, I'm Michael McCarthy on behalf of OPIC. OPIC has reviewed this proposal for rulemaking and respectfully recommends publication. This rulemaking implements House Bills 1237 and 5629 and Senate Bills 1080 and 1818 from the 89th regular legislative session by updating TCEQ's occupational licensing rules in Chapter 30. The proposal includes several technical and administrative updates, including corrections to operator training requirements, new definitions, and clarifying edits throughout Chapter 30. Overall, this rulemaking primarily implements changes required by the legislature and updates TCEQ's rules to conform with current state law. The proposal provides greater flexibility for license holders, reduces administrative burdens for military service members and their families, and modernizes licensing procedures through changes such as electronic renewal notices and streamlined renewal requirements. OPIC believes the proposal will improve administrative efficiency while maintaining appropriate protections for the public. Accordingly, OPIC recommends publication. We are available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm ready to move forward the publication, but I'd love to hear from our legislative expert and purist, Katarina.
I'm not sure what what you're asking for here, but I do appreciate the staff's work to implement the statutes in the proposed rulemaking and correct an oversight from the last time the rule was amended. So I look forward to public comment on this rule, and I'm prepared to move forward with the proposal.
You always have an eagle eye on these bill implementations.
Yeah, I just like to stay, true to the text of what the legislature asked us to do. It's an important thing. When I was going through confirmation, I promised that we wouldn't legislate, or I wouldn't legislate from the dais, and I think it's important to do that. So,
Absolutely. Tanya?
I'm ready to move forward.
All right. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that we approve the publication of and hearing on proposed amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 30, as recommended by the Executive Director.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. We'll move on to item 58. Everyone a chance to shuffle.
Item 58 is the consideration of the adoption of amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 293, Water Districts. The Executive Director staff are here to present this item.
All right, good morning, Chairwoman. Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I'm Justin Tack with the Water Supply Division. With me today is Kayla Murray with the Environmental Law Division. The adopted rulemaking would amend 30 Texas Administrative Code 29311 regarding information required to accompany applications for creation of districts. Amend 30 TAC 29312 regarding creation notice actions and requirements. Amend 29315 regarding addition of wastewater and/or drainage powers and the conversion of district into a municipal utility district. Amend 29332 relating to the qualifications of directors. Amend 30 TAC 29341 relating to the approval of projects and issuance of bonds. Amend 30 TAC 29359 regarding economic feasibility of project. Amend 30 TAC 29363 relating to contract documents for water district projects. Amend 30 TAC 29381 regarding change orders. And amend 30 TAC 29391 regarding reporting by districts. The rulemaking will provide consistency with amendments made to Texas Local Government Code Chapter 375 from House Bill 2815, Texas Water Code Chapter 49 made by House Bill 1410, House Bill 2815, House Bill 3437, House Bill 3507, Senate Bill 938, and Senate Bill 1397. Texas Water Code Chapter 54 made by House Bill 2815, and Texas Water Code Chapter 57 made by House Bill 2815. The proposed rules were published in the February 27, 2026 issue of the Texas Register, and a public hearing was held on March 16, 2026. The public comment period closed on March 17, 2026. The Commission received comments from Allen Boone Humphreys Robinson, LLP, and Haynes Boone, LLP. Both comments received were neither in support nor against the rulemaking, rather suggested changes to proposed language. In response to comments, slight revisions to the proposed 29312H were made to clarify the creation notice should be provided to each representative and senator who represents an area inside the proposed district boundaries. Staff respectfully recommends adoption of this rulemaking to Chapter 293 water districts. Staff also respectfully requests permission to make non-substantive revisions to comply with Texas Register requirements. Thank you. We're available for any questions.
Thanks, Justin. Any questions for Justin? Nope. Mary, is anyone signed in on this?
Nobody is signed in.
OPIC?
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Executive Directors, attorneys, and staff. For the record, I'm Jessica Anderson on behalf of the Office of Public Interest Counsel. OPIC has reviewed this proposal for rulemaking and respectfully recommends adoption. The purpose of this rulemaking is to amend 30 Texas Administrative Code Chapter 293 to implement House Bill 2815, House Bill 3437, House Bill 3507, Senate Bill 1397, and Senate Bill 938 from the 88th Texas Legislature and House Bill 1410 from the 87th Texas Legislature. This rulemaking would have a myriad of effects on the public, including allowing members of the public to be appointed or elected to the board of directors of a newly created municipal management district, giving the public the opportunity to comment on and hold hearing regarding the creation of a municipal management districts, notifying the public of a hearing on conversion of a district into a municipal utility district, and providing the public with the opportunity to comment on and review any pending litigation facing the district at that time. It also requires members of the public seeking appointment or election to a levy improvement district to meet the requirements of Texas Water Code Chapter 57. Regarding taxation, this rulemaking would have some effect on the public. House Bill 2815 adds Austin, Brazos, Liberty, Grimes, Wharton, and Walker counties to the list of counties where the maximum projected tax rate for districts is $1.50, and adds Bastrop, Bell, Blanco, Burnett, Caldwell, Gillespie, Kendall, Lee, and Milam counties to the list of counties where the maximum projected tax rate is $1.20. Additionally, by increasing the recreational bond debt ratio for districts from 1% to 3%, those owning property in districts could be liable for more debt incurred by the district and could be taxed at a higher rate, subject to the caps, as a result of increased debt incurred by the district. Additionally, districts in El Paso would be able to authorize recreational debt and charge recreational taxes to the affected public. The rule would make changes to procurement thresholds for districts. It increases from $75,000 to $150,000 the threshold at which a district must advertise a project, and requires a district to seek written bids for projects between $25,000 and $150,000, up from $75,000. It also increases from $50,000 to $150,000 the value of a change order requiring agency approval. To provide members of the public with an opportunity to participate in this matter, the Commission held a public hearing on this rulemaking on March 16, 2026. During the public comment period, the Commission received comments from 2 entities that suggested minor changes to specific rule language, and agency staff responded to those comments. This rulemaking provides a variety of opportunities for the public to play a role in various district processes. While there are tax implications, these are limited in scope and related to specific counties and recreation, as prescribed by statute. Thank you, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Jessica. First, I'd like to thank staff for their efforts on this Chapter 293 rulemaking concerning water districts. I also appreciate the public's participation and attention to detail in reviewing our proposed rules. I've reviewed the backup material and believe that this rulemaking is necessary to implement House Bill 1410 from the 87th, along with House Bills 2815, 3437, 3507, and Senate Bills 938 and 1397 from the 88th legislative session. I understand, based on public comments and the ED's response to comment, that additional rulemaking project is needed to complete the implementation. So I look forward to finishing our work on this chapter soon. And with that, I'm ready to support the adoption of these amendments. Colleagues?
I appreciate the comments we received from the public highlighting corrections that should be made to fully implement the statutory language. Though we could not make those corrections this round, I want to ask staff to ensure that they initiate another rulemaking to incorporate the changes that we need. Thank you for your hard work on this. And with that said, I am ready to move forward with adoption today if staff correct the mistakes as soon as possible.
Thanks, Katarina.
I'm in favor of adoption of these amendments. However, I'm concerned that we're working on implementation projects from the 87th and 88th legislature, and that the project missed some of the aspects of this legislation that was pointed out in comments from stakeholders. Unfortunately, we're constrained by the APA from repealing the identified provisions in this rulemaking. I appreciate that the ED has acknowledged these issues with the rule project, but I'm disappointed in the timing and the errors. I too want to see the next project opened up as soon as possible and move it along. I would like it wrapped up as quickly as possible. I would also like to visit with the program to discuss how we can move their statutory implementation projects more efficiently and accurately in the future. But thank you for your work on this.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I move that we adopt the amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 293, as recommended by the Executive Director.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 I gotcha. Mary heard it.
It was implied.
Yes. Okay. That brings us to the items for closed session. The commission will meet in closed session in room 4222, building F at,
10:40.
okay, at 10:40, as permitted by the Open Meetings Act, including Texas Government Code Sections 551071 and 551074, to take up and consider matters pursuant to items 59 through 62 as posted and noticed.
Thank you. This meeting stands in recess.
The commission met in room 4222 of Building F for closed session from 10:40 until 11:19 a.m. on item number 60 through 62, as posted in notice pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551074. No action was taken. This agenda stands adjourned. The time is 11:30.